This episode contains mature content and includes discussion of substance abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, and domestic violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you've been through something unthinkable, if you've ever been told not to share your story, to suck it up, buttercup, or thought, no one will believe me anyway, if you're still here fighting to figure out what comes next, then you have a story the world needs to hear, and we want to be the ones to help you share it. My name is Sam,
My name is Joe.
and we are Project Tell Your Story. And today we are here with Haley. And Haley, hey, tell us about yourself, Haley.
I am 19 years old, living in Arizona. That's pretty much all there is to know about me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm just living my best life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We were talking about beforehand, but I'm in love. I'm in love with your hat. Like, it's so cool. Allergic to stupidity.
I have another one that says, like dead inside but cute, and it has a little ghost with a bow. I tried to find it, but I could not. So I stuck with this
That's
one.
Ah,
That's
that's
hilarious.
awesome.
Dead
Dead
inside but
inside
cute.
cute.
Yes.
Still cute though.
Yep.
That is so cool. I'm a sucker for a graphic tee. Like, I don't really wear them on here because like just t-shirt, like you can't, when people wear like graphic t-shirts, you just can't really tell what it says anyway, so there's not a point, like just with the camera angle and stuff. But
Yeah,
I love a good graphic tee, like just funny sayings on a t-shirt. So I'm here
I
for your
agree.
hat.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
to wear graphic tees that are inappropriate because then they make people uncomfortable and it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She has
That's
one of my favorites. She has one that's a ghost and it has two little ghosts like on your chest and it says boobies. That's my
that's so
favorite one.
funny. I love that. I did my most recent sweater. I have a sweater like that makes people uncomfortable. It says Dead Moms Club, and on the back it's a ghost, and it said, "Go ahead and tell my mom. What is she gonna do? Haunt me?"
That
My
is
favorite to wear.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Dead Moms Club. That's
Then I see the
hilarious.
people who's dealt with death and who hasn't, based on their reactions. I get a lot of people that are like, "That's so cute. Like, that's so cool," and other people are like, "I can't believe you're wearing that."
What do I do? Yeah. That's so
And
funny.
you're
Are
like,
you there's there's a comedian that she does that, like she has a Netflix special and on her Netflix special she goes, "Do you think I'd yeah, everyone's always weird that I make jokes about my dead mom, but do you think I'd be on Netflix if my mom hadn't died?" Like that's why I'm funny. And it's just
That's so
and
real. That is so real.
so I was like
yeah,
I
that's what that made
agree.
me think of. The
Yeah.
Dead Moms Club.
Yep.
yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. Well, Haley, so we always ask everybody just kind of like a funny little icebreaker question. And for you, we picked, what is your hidden talent?
Oh, I don't think I really have one, to be honest. I mean, I can do techie stuff with lights. Like, I guess I could
Yeah?
sometimes take talent or photography. I just got hired at a production company, so
Oh, that's
Damn, so you're
super
like
cool.
legit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Wait,
look at you taking your hidden talent and turning it into a career.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited.
She's like, "I don't have any hidden talents. They're all pretty out there, and everyone knows how great I am." That's awesome. I love that.
Yep.
That's super cool. Joe's like, "My hidden talent is I can kind of crochet." Sam's like, hidden talents. I make kombucha. Is that a talent?" Mostly I just pour things into bottles. That's so cool. I love that. So you're a photographer, you do lighting. That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
All
it's a lot of
right.
fun.
That's
Yeah,
super cool.
that's
For
awesome.
like so you said like for a production company, what is that like are you doing like movies or what are you doing photography for
So
or
it's all
lighting?
music industry that I'm in. The specific production company I'm gonna start working with is more like electric music, but they've already had photographers move up and they're touring with artists. They're doing events and different things like that. I already had a portfolio to show, so I had Sabrina Carpenter, I had Red Hot Chili Peppers, all artists I've already taken pictures of. I sent that in and they were like, "Oh my gosh, if she's big enough to take pictures of these artists, she should come here."
Holy cow, we didn't know we had a celebrity on our show.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, we are interviewing a celebrity. Please don't look at me. I am not worthy. That is sick.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well,
It,
anyway, now
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
little
so
shy.
cool.
I'm a little shy. That's cool. So you've like seen like how are you doing that? Are you going to their concerts? Like are they hiring you to take pictures of them? How did you get Sabrina Carpenter, basically? That's what I want to know. I'm in
so
love.
I joke and call myself a nepo baby. My dad is a stagehand. He builds the stages, and I used to come with him all the time, and I kind of started throwing my name out there for different things. I've done stagehand work. They picked me up for being a tech for lighting because they were like, "You're more creative," and they just finally there's a spot open for doing photo, and I kind of get pushed into it. So Sabrina Carpenter, my dad was doing her show, and I was able to put my name out there to go up in front of the stage and take pictures of her. My brother worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I got to be able to take pictures of them and different things like that. And now
That
I've
is
made a
so
name for
cool.
myself.
And you're
I
19.
thought you were
Yes.
I thought you were gonna say that you started out as some like paparazzi stalker person, and then
Oh, absolutely
this
not.
is way cooler.
Yeah, no,
This is
absolutely not. I would never stoop to that level.
oh my
You're
gosh,
like,
you're
I'm
like
way better
no.
than that.
You're like I'm legitimate. Yes, ethical journalism, ethical picturism, photography. There we go,
Photography.
picturism. I'm sorry. I'm really flustered right now. I just feel like I've met one of the
Sam's like,
coolest
oh my
people.
god, you know Sabrina Carpenter. I can't breathe.
I can't. Please excuse me. Oh my
At least
gosh.
it's not Taylor Swift. She'd be dead right now.
I'd be dead. We're done. I'd be
Understandable.
like, you're living my life. That's really cool. Ah, all right. That's pretty sick. All right.
Yeah.
You've got, you're amazing. That's so cool. I'm all
Thank
starstruck
you.
and flustered right now.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would work with you again.
Would work with you again. Ah, love that.
Thank you.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. Well, so I know that we had kind of talked a little bit beforehand. You'd reached out to me on TikTok. You said that you really just found us by seeing some of our our videos and our little snippets on TikTok. So what made you decide to reach out to us and ask to share your story on our podcast?
Honestly, trying to think of how to word this. I've told my story to people. It's not exactly a secret for me. But there are people I can't share it with. And people who don't share their side of things that we went through collectively. Um, and when I tell people like like closest friends are probably the people I would tell. I mean, they're like, you should write a book. This is crazy. Look at where you are compared to where you were at and where you came from and different things like that. And so I saw the name Project Tell Your Story. It interests me. So I looked at one of your guys' videos, I think like the first one explaining what you guys wanted to do. Um, and I don't know, I wanted to jump in. I feel like I can be good with showing people that there is a good way to heal, and there's not always an easy escape out of things, but you can grow so much stronger and go so much farther. I mean, I'm 19 now. I went through it my whole life, and now I'm doing what I love, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Yeah, we were so impressed because a lot of people that have reached out have been like, "Yeah, I've seen every single one of your videos." And then you were like, "I don't even really know who you guys are, but I'm interested." And we were
Nope.
like, "We love this."
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said too about there's a good way to heal. I think
Yeah,
that's really cool. Like and look, this is where I'm at because that's a lot of what our show's about too, like telling your story and giving a platform for talking about like it's okay to talk about the scary, the hard, the dark things. Like if you don't bleed, you're never going to grow, right? And so
yeah,
that's where it goes into like yours of you're saying like I have bled, I have grown and like look, I'm doing everything that I love and that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
mean, I kid you not, I've genuinely had people ask me how I'm not a drug addict. I'm like,
Wow.
that's a crazy question to ask an 18, 19-year-old. But,
Right?
Yeah.
like, I do understand people's standpoints on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm I hate to say I'm excited to hear your story because like I'm so sad that this happened to you, but I'm excited to hear your story. Like
Yeah, I'm
I'm gonna be
intrigued. Like,
so open with you
yeah, I
guys.
guess
You
I'm
guys are
intrigued.
feel free to laugh. I laugh at I'm a little darker with my humor. Feel free. Uncomfortable laughter is fine. If you find it funny in any way, you're totally free to laugh.
I will
look,
definitely laugh.
you're in the right place. We get
Yes,
pretty
you are.
dark
Yeah.
sometimes. So, yeah, yep, I love that. This is a good group. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm yeah, me too. So when you did reach out, you were talking about, and even like when we first jumped on camera, we asked how you're feeling, and you were saying that you're pretty nervous about sharing your story. Um, so I did just want to ask, like, what are your worst fears about coming out with your story?
Honestly, it's more people's views. Some people don't take it as lightly as I do, and they're almost offended by how not a, I don't know if offended is the right word, but how okay I am with the life that I have. I mean, people ask
Yeah,
me, "Would you do it again?" Yeah, I wouldn't change it because it's exactly why I'm right here. It is 100% why
yeah,
I'm right here. Whether that's God and that's what you believe in, or coincidences, or fate, or whatever it is, like, there's no way I would ever have the same, like, life that I have now if I didn't go through that. And so it's just kind of like, I'm worried about people viewing it and seeing it a little odd, that that's very normal for me, that it's funny, that it's not like, oh my gosh, like such a tragic, like I'm so traumatized. I'm like, yes, I have trauma, but it's not something that I'm like letting take over me. It's not so in your face, like I'm depressed and like I went through all this, poor me. And the other
yeah,
one that kind of ties in with the main story of mine is just people finding it. But I'm gonna let that be however the universe or God or fate decides to put that.
yeah, yeah. Well, and you know what? If they do find your interview and they watch it, and they play a role in what happened to you, then honestly, they need to maybe do some self reflection and be like, wow, I suck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, it's a very real thing, right? Because you're like, oh, this is my story, but there are other characters in it. There are other people that are affected. And so, yeah, that's definitely a very, like, that's normal to be nervous about that and worried about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, then let's get into it. Like, well, we're here to talk about your story. And like we said before, you can share whatever absolutely feels right to you, right? You said that you're going to laugh. We're going to laugh with you. You're going to complete control. Like, you can pause at any time. Also, if we ask you any questions that I know you said, oh, I'm going to be a totally open book. Ask me whatever you want. But if we do ask you a question that you don't want to talk about, don't feel like, well, I said, or they, just, I don't want to answer that. Totally fine. We'll move on. And we're just here to help you share whatever you want to. We're here to laugh with you. We're here. I will probably cry. I can't control it. I'm a crier. So you two will laugh. I will laugh through my tears. We're gonna get through this. And
Perfect.
yeah. So also we talked about the fact that, like you said, you have some other characters in your story, and
Yeah.
we're not going to name any names. We're just going to talk about titles. So that'll
Yes.
just be, and any names that do come out, they'll be pseudonyms. But I think we established that we're just going to keep it to titles, and then other
Yes.
than you. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well then,
Perfect.
if you're comfortable with that, we're moving right into it. So when you talked to us when you messaged us, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about abuse you experienced like through your lifetime.
Yeah.
And we would like to focus on, for starters, kind of your abuse, your childhood abuse, and then we'll transition into the abuse you experienced late as an adult, like in the second part of this interview. So does that work for you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, like essentially what you're doing, right, is you're telling a story to someone who's never met you before. Like Joe and I met you approximately like 7 minutes ago. And if you did not have the pressure of a camera or recording in front of you, if you were to tell your story to a brand new person, where would you start?
In all honesty, just to start off a joke right off the bat, keep it light. When I meet people mixed in with like some icebreakers and whatnot, typically the first thing I say is my mom's dead. My boyfriend is even like the first thing you said to me was my mom's dead. And I was like, gotta get it out of the way. So it doesn't come out some other way, some awkward way. My mom's dead. That's how I start
Sweet.
usually.
You're like,
Um,
hi, my name's Haley and my mom's dead.
yeah, fun fact.
Fun
um,
fact. Handshake.
so with that, I kind of get mixed. I take however they react, and I can kind of start from there. So usually, a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm sorry, like that's so sad. I'm usually like, eh, eh, yeah, I guess, yes. And they're like, okay, what? My mom, don't get me wrong, as a person, she was smart. Her own person, she's smart, she's pretty. She was very, very, very intelligent. All that, but she let alcohol and drugs and pills completely take over. So like to the point like where you really remember memories. Like I never had a normal version of my mom. It
Mm,
was always some substance that kind of took over her. It wasn't really her.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's just like the very basic, like, that's who I lived with, you know? That's the basic start of my story overall.
Okay.
Right. So then what was the role that your mom played in your abuse? Was she the person who abused you? Was she a
Yeah.
standby person as other people did?
It was her. Um, some physical, a lot of emotional, mostly when it wasn't her, obviously. And I say it wasn't her as much as I am angry, and it's like she made the choice to choose that over her kids, you know? Um, I say it wasn't her because I, as of recent, found out some pretty gross stories about her ex-husband that had happened to her. Um, and it kind of came to light how it started. It's almost understandable in a sick way, where obviously I wish she didn't go down that path, but it's almost like I mean, she felt like that was the only choice.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
but I mean, we have a me and my dad have like a 3-day rule with her when she was alive, and it was we always had 3 good days. That was about it. We had 3 good days, and then it completely flips on us. The transitions of being drunk are she was super super clingy, right? Um, play with the dogs, do this, like I love you, I'm all over you, I'm rolling on the floor with the dogs, and that was like the minute we knew, like, okay, this is about to not be fun because you start to get a little overstimulated, a little overwhelmed by it, and at some point you're like, okay, like I need to back up, I need some space, and it switches to that anger of fuck you guys, like this and that. My mom and dad would fight all when I was younger. My brother moved out. I took the place of like, okay, now I'm the one who has to get in the middle and figure it out and be kind of the punching bag to be able to stop the fighting. Until I became older and I started just fighting for myself, rather than
Yeah.
like for for them to stop fighting. It became just me.
Yeah. So you felt like that you kind of had to be the mediator between your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
that's tough.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes it would get physical. A lot of things were said. I mean, my mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia, with bipolar disorder, and borderline personality disorder. So I mean, wasn't medicated for any of those. Was drinking. Was using pills, self-medicating. Um. So I mean, a lot of the stuff she would do and say were kind of terrifying, in all honesty. And I grew up a daddy's girl, being kind of afraid. Um, and so like even younger, like I would step out to kind of protect my dad, a little bit, but like mostly just kind of stop them, especially when it got physical. Because I mean, my mom wasn't weak. She was strong. She was athletic. Like she does some damage when she's angry and when she's in those moods, and she's like that. Um, and obviously there comes a point where my dad's eventually going to have to defend himself. He can't just keep sitting there taking the hits. So also protecting my mom by trying to get both of them separated, because if my dad snaps, he's a big dude. Like, it's not going to take much.
Right.
Yeah.
So in those
Well,
physical altercations, you said they got physical with each other. Did either of them ever get physical with you?
My mom has quite a bit. I had a piggy bank thrown at my head. I've been whipped with a cord. I've been hit. I've been pulled by my hair. All that. And honestly, I'd take that over her being clingy any day. I'd rather her throw stuff at me. We've been threatened with knives. She's
oh yeah.
cut. I mean, I closed the door at one point, and she like stabbed through the door. Um, she's cut stuffed animals of mine before, stuff like that when I was younger, and that was like my safety, was like my stuffed animals. So definitely, yeah, definitely got physical on all accounts.
Right.
So with the knife situation, do you feel like I don't know, do you feel like that was like an attempted murder?
I honestly, I don't really know how to answer that question. I don't think she would ever hurt me to that extent. I could definitely see it
Mm-hmm.
possible to my dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see like if she wanted to, she really could.
Right.
Like if she's far
Yeah.
enough gone and all that, she could.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially like you said with all those substances, the alcohol, whatever pills she was taking, it's like she's not that's not even her. She's not even there. So
Yeah.
that's so scary and unpredictable. Like you never really know who you're gonna get and what's gonna happen.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So like let take us back to maybe if we can talk about like as you've said a whole lot of things. Like she threw a piggy bank at my head. I got whipped with a cord. She stabbed through the door. What does that look like to start with? You know, she like kind of take us through just a day in the life of what it would be like with her.
On on those kinds of days where it does flip, um, honestly, we would wake up, me and my dad. I wake up last. I always slept in. I was younger. And I mean, she isolates herself for a while. She'll be in the bath for hours, in her room locked for hours. And that's when we know, like, usually it's like, oh, I'm doing my makeup, leave me alone. I'm taking a bath, leave me alone. Um, Obviously, she's in there drinking. We're not dumb. And so, honestly, me and my dad would both pack a bag and hide it under a bed. Because we were always ready. We always knew where it was headed, but we were gonna try and make the best of it as long as it'll go. Then she would come out and she like wants to do something with my dad, or she wants something like what I give her attitude, or my dad gives her attitude because he's already irritated that he knows where it's going. Different things like that. It could be any little thing can trigger that switch. You guys asked how it got violent and if it was just with me or just with my dad. It was both of us. But being younger, it was mostly towards my dad at the time. Um, and I was a daddy's girl. I would step in. I wanted to protect him. I used to step in a lot. And being younger, I didn't take as much blows. It was more like, Haley, stay out of this. Haley, go to your room. My brother would come and grab me when my brother lived with us. And as I got older, it turned into I got combative, and getting older, it was now I'm fighting. Now I'm the one who's going to start yelling. Like now I'm being targeted, as well as my dad. It's not just my dad anymore. Um, so that was kind of like what I grew up like around up until my mom passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did that look like? Like they're fighting, and you said you came in and experienced like they would get you would they'd get blows, like you said, not as much when you were little, but as you got older, what exactly did that look like? Like you're stepping in and is she punching you in the face? Is she pulling your hair or something different?
Um, it could be honestly about anything. It's pretty unpredictable when it comes to that kind of stuff. Stepping in, I've been accidentally hit by my dad. He did not mean to. He was trying to block a shovel being swung at his head, and he happened to hit me. Being younger, I my mom has threatened knives on all of us. I've had piggy banks thrown. I've been hit. I've been whipped with a cord. I've been slapped. My hair's been pulled. I mean, whatever was more convenient for her, I'll say.
Mm,
Yeah. Just whatever was around that she could use as a weapon.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And so you mentioned too, when we got cut off that the day would really start off like you knew something was going to happen when she kind of hit herself in her room.
Yeah.
Um, she would be in there for hours, and you knew that what she was doing was drinking. What really threw me was when you said that you and your dad would pack a bag during that time. That's really
Yep.
that's got to be really scary as a little kid.
Oh, 100%. And it was always a mix up whether my mom was gonna be the one to rush off, because she'll get in the car and flip out and leave. Of course, we'd have to go get her because she was pulled over, or she crashed, or she got the car stuck, or whatever it was, obviously drinking and driving. Or it was us gonna leave and try and get out of it. So, my dad travels for a living building the stages, so he already pretty much had a bag packed majority of the time. Like at home, he basically lives out of his suitcase half the time. Me, I would just pack a quick bag. I would throw clothes in there really quick, some bathroom stuff, some stuffed animals, and I would hide it in my room. up until we're ready to leave. And typically, so my mom doesn't know, I would throw my bag out the window when we're ready to leave, and I would run outside and I would go around the house and grab my bag and head to the car.
Wow.
So would you, because you said that she had some triggers, so you trying to leave with your dad, is that one of her triggers? Is that why you would throw the bag out the window?
That would just make it to where she would go at me, I guess. I mean, usually when we're leaving, she's already in that, like, violent, angry, yelling, hitting. She's already in that mode, and we're trying to get out of it. And if I grab my bags and try to go, she would grab me, she would pull me, she would yell at my dad some more, she would threaten things. So I typically threw my bag out the window. So when I'm going outside, because I would go outside before my dad would leave, and he would know this, is I would go make it just look like I'm trying to get away from everything. Like, oh, I'm just stepping outside. What she doesn't see is my packed bag waiting outside the window where I could grab it and just go sit in the car and wait for him to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it sounds like that your dad was kind of the safe adult that you could turn to in your life. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Do you have you ever had any resentment or anything towards your dad for like never leaving?
I definitely used to. I mean, I was told, and I didn't know this part of it. I did get put into the foster system at one point during the whole mess of everything. Me and my brother, my dad somehow had like a friend connection that worked with Child Protective Services, so she kind of managed to be able to take us in as the family that we were going to stay with.
Mhm.
We didn't know them. My dad did. And my brother told me that my dad didn't visit. And it wasn't very often, and that my dad, like, they told my dad that all he had to do to keep custody of us, was to leave my mom, and he said no. So I think for a while I was kind of angry, but looking at who he is now and who I became because of him, he just has so much love for her. I mean, any good parts he got of her, he loved. I mean, he would tell me how smart she was, how intelligent. I mean, she researches stuff. She's so smart. She's beautiful. Like all this. And it's kind of nice to see how much love he has. It was a crappy situation. I wish he would have gotten out of it. I wish he would have taken us. Of course, sometimes, especially in the moment of dealing with it, it's like why do we have to be here? But I just think he has a big heart. I think he wanted to save her. I think he just wanted the good parts of her.
Yeah, that's that's understandable. Like I can definitely understand where he's coming from with that, but it's hard. That's such a hard situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what events led you to being taken into foster care? Do you remember?
They kind of mix here and there. I know CPS got involved one time in Texas. She was fighting with everybody, and I think she like threatened my brother with a knife, and he called them. She got taken. We
Mm.
stayed with our grandparents, and I think the time that we got taken was, I want to say we were crossing the border, and she had a warrant,
The
and
border
so
into a different state or like Mexico?
Mexico.
Whoa. Why
So was she
why were you
running?
Well, she gets her pills there because they're cheaper, but also we
Oh.
have family in Mexico and everything like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
What kind of drugs was she using?
I have no idea, to be honest. I know they were pills. I know some of them were like diet pills to keep her skinny. I know
Mm.
there was pills that like kind of gave her a high, like energy. I know she took a pregnancy inducing pill while she was having me because she didn't want to be fat. So I came out early. So I can't say anything in specific because I'm not sure. I was younger, but
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. And if she's getting them from, I would assume, probably somebody kind of sketchy in Mexico,
Mm.
she probably didn't know what she was taking either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hard. That's got to be a lot. How does that make you feel when you said she took a pregnancy inducing pill because she would rather have me early than be fat? Just how does that make you feel?
Kind of scary. There's absolutely no picture of her being pregnant. Nobody has one. She wouldn't let anybody take pictures just because, like, don't show me if I'm fat. It did cause, I had tubes and everything. I was born premature, so I was smaller than I was supposed to be. I wasn't eating as much as I was supposed to be. Growing up, I was bullied because of what she took. I didn't get enough calcium, so my four front teeth were yellow growing up, my baby teeth. I would get made fun of and stuff like that. So it did kind of like, it's like, really? Like, you couldn't just stick it out and, like, make sure you had a healthy baby? But I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
whatever, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least take some Tums, get some calcium in you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
I would imagine for me, I think that would be really easy for me to internalize, to be like, wow, like, and I'm not saying you should or, should feel this way. I'm just trying to imagine if that was something that I learned about my mom, I would definitely think that would impact my self-worth a little bit. It was more important to you to look skinny than it was to make sure I was okay. And it seems like that kind of went throughout the rest of your childhood, right? It was more important to her to have a pill, to have a drink, than it was to make sure that you were okay and safe.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of goes into how I told you guys that what makes me sort of nervous is how normal this feels to me versus I tell people, and I understandably I know and understand the emotions, but growing up, especially I grew up not in a neighborhood. We live on land. So, like, there wasn't people around me. I mean, we were isolated on this land. Um so it was so normal to me. And
Yeah.
so if it seems like I don't have as much emotion or it seems like something like that, it's just it genuinely it took a while. Like I understood it wasn't normal, but it felt normal. Um,
Yeah.
the first time I had a friend spend the night at my house, which took till high school for me to be able to do, she saw holes all over the wall. She was like, "What are these from?" I'm like, "Oh, they're from my mom. They're from my parents fighting. They're whatever it is." And she was like, "That's not normal, Haley." And I'm like, "I know." And she goes, "No, Haley, this it's not normal to just live like that. That's not just an okay thing. But all of my life, it was just such a normal occurrence that I mean, I tell you guys, we already knew when it was coming. We stayed, but we had a bag packed knowing eventually we're gonna have to leave. It was just the normal
Yeah.
life we
Yeah. That's your life. That was your childhood. Those are your parents. This is just an everyday occurrence where somebody else who isn't going through this, they're like, yeah, that's not normal. And you're like, what are you talking about? This has been happening to me for 18 years. It's normal to me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the first time I, like, consciously had CPS talk to me was third grade. Like, it started there. CPS came and talked to me, and I remember, like, going back to lunch, and everyone was like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was just a CPS officer. No biggie."
Don't they talk to you
No
too?
biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just just another
Wow.
Tuesday. So you mentioned
Yep.
earlier that at one point she stabbed a knife through the door and you were on the other side of the door. Tell us about how that particular incident started.
I honestly could not tell you. My best guess was being younger. I always cried for my dad because he traveled. So, like, if it's just me there, like, I have nobody. And I would try and call my dad on my phone, and she would take my phone and break it, and she would do different things, and I would cry and cry, and I want my dad, and she hated that. She hated the feeling that I only wanted my dad. So like that's why she cut a stuffed animal of mine with a knife. That's why um that was one of the big things that really got her angry and upset towards me.
Hmm.
Right. So then at some point you think like you were crying and did you barricade yourself in your room and she stabbed a knife through the door? Is that what happened?
Uh, Honestly, I think I just locked the door.
Mm.
She got mad about it, and I was crying, and she ended up stabbing the knife through the door a few times. I was far enough away from the door, obviously, but still a little
Yeah.
scary to see, like, all of a sudden a knife coming through.
Yeah. And
That is
about how old
scary.
were you at that time?
I want to say, like, middle school, maybe?
Wow.
Wow.
So was this pretty much your whole life? You said you don't really have a memory of your mom being not okay, right?
Yeah,
Or I mean, of being okay.
yeah. I don't really have, I mean, like, I think the only time she was somewhat okay, and it didn't even last long, was she was in prison for a year. She came out. I mean, obviously, you're gonna go through withdrawals, but she's smart and she's pretty. So, I mean, she came out and she was like, I need to go get something to drink. So, it didn't really last very long. There was a few weeks where it was okay.
Yeah.
Mm. And
Do
what
you
did
remember what she went to prison for?
mhm.
Honestly, not off the top of my head. I think I was asleep whenever this happened. She was driving back from Florence, Arizona, back to my house or something like that, and I was asleep in the car because when I woke up, I didn't know where my mom was. I woke up in a different car with my uncle and kind of just didn't have a clue what was going on.
Oh.
Wow.
So do you think maybe like a DUI or something?
Very possible.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's kind of scary. You just
Yeah.
wake up in a whole new place.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it took them a couple weeks to tell me where she was because my dad wasn't in town and they lived on like in an RV next to our house. So like I would ask where my mom was, and they're like, I don't know if like if I can give you that answer, you know.
Yeah.
But my dad was always pretty upfront, so eventually I got a hold of my dad, and it was like, yeah, like she's in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. So other than your dad, did you have any other adults in your life that you could turn to for safety?
I did for a little bit. I mean, I had my aunt, and I even lived with her for a bit while my mom was in prison, and I had a mother figure, which kind of goes into different-ish story. Um, But I did have a mother figure that she also passed away before my mom, but I would call her and I would go and stay at her house. I mean, she would pick me up. She
Yeah.
knew everything going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have a
So
curse on
did
me. I can't have a mom.
oh. Well,
The
that's
Dead
why you
Moms
have the
Club.
shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
was she
So
positive? Like was she a positive influence in your life? This mother figure?
Oh, absolutely. She was great. I mean, she was actually an aide at my middle school and happened to be my guy best friend's mom. And
Okay.
so I was very close with him, and then I found out that's his mom. So then it was like, oh, okay, I'm talking to her. I'm going over to his house. And so she knew everything. I had her number to call her whenever anything was going on. And then I had my dad's best friend, who I could occasionally call as well, to come and get me.
so you did have other adults in your life that knew what was happening. Did did any of them ever try to like did they ever call CPS or try to get you any help or anything like that?
You would think. You
You
would
would
think.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what we would think. So I'm guessing no.
Not really, no.
That's really
Well, I
Other than
hard.
my
mean, you
dad, I mean,
are
my dad protected me. like
Yeah.
as much as he could without letting her go. And I
Yeah.
know like one of my aunts, at least what she tells me is that she tried and wanted me, but then it just never happened.
Yeah.
So
Well,
majority, I think
obviously they
majority of
didn't try
CPS
very hard.
calls were schools.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
you said,
the school
yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And that was right. Like you said, you saw CPS in third grade. So the adults who did help you were probably the mandatory reporters in your schools. What about your teacher's aide? Tell us about her. How did she positively influence your life?
Honestly, I mean, that whole friend group all kind of came broken in a sense. My guy best friend, his dad wasn't super in his life at that point. They lived with his mom and her sister, their aunt. And then, we had two other boys. One had um a parent that drank. One was just kind of a shy nerd. Nothing's wrong with him. He's just nerdy. Um,
Nothing's wrong with him.
yeah, he's great. He's just a nerd. But I mean, they were my group of people, and she kind of took me in, and she was like, I mean, I called her mom. She was one of my calls when my mom like dropped me off in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, I don't know what to do. She just had a very big heart. She was funny. She let me stay at her house whenever, like stuff like that. She was just a really great person. I mean, she even yelled at my dad at one point. I mean, the school called my dad because I told a teacher that I had been cutting at the time in middle school. Obviously, being mandatory reporters, they pull me into the office. They call my dad. I'm terrified. My dad comes in, says whatever. He asks everybody to leave the office, so it's just us two, and he starts yelling at me, like, go find a new home if you don't like it. And the emotions were high. He doesn't really mean that. He's a great guy, honestly. He does
Yeah.
everything for me. Emotions were just a lot. I mean, obviously, just found out his daughter's cutting. He's overwhelmed. He's never had to deal with this. But I mean, she came in and was like, "Don't yell at her. Like, I can take her for the night. It's fine." Da da da. She was just a really great person.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So specifically being home with a very volatile parent, did home ever feel like a safe place for you?
Not really. No. I mean, even now, we're moving out of the house, but we moved back into the house that I grew up in, and it's still not the best feeling being there. I think my safest place there is the bathroom, 'cause like always used to kind of be my hideout, where it's like, okay, no one's gonna come in if they think I'm taking a shower, if they think I'm in the bathroom. So that was kind of the best place. Once she passed away, I had paranoia for a while. I was terrified to be there alone, different things like that. So honestly, not really.
Wow. I I do also want to go back to one thing that you said too. You said about your mother figure that you would call her if your mom randomly dropped you off places. Did that happen often where she would just boot you out of the car and you'd just be stranded somewhere?
Yes, majority of the time she came back. And this specific time that I called my mother figure was I I want to say it was middle school. CPS talked to me. It was sixth grade. CPS talked to me, and by that point, I knew their routine. I knew they're gonna tell my mom that they were there, and in all honesty, I grew up not trusting them at that point because they are mandatory to tell the parents that they came and visited their child at school. Um, Obviously that's not helpful when the problem is a parent and you have to go and tell them that the child like said all this so I didn't tell him anything. He tells my mom. I'm freaking out. She picks me up already drunk, already angry. She's yelling at me. She pulls over. And I didn't have a car. I wasn't even worried about like directions or anything at that point. She drops me off at this QT, and I don't even know where. I still don't even know where that what QT that was. It was surrounded by desert. She dropped me off and she was like, "Don't ever call me mom, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay." I grabbed my phone and I ran out the door. I ran inside and I see her trying to shoot. She like drove off and then she came back at one point. I see her try to go inside, so I darted out the door. I went behind the building and I like ran into the desert and found like a hill to hide behind. Eventually she found me. At this point I had already called a few people and was already trying to get a hold of people, and I was freaking out. Then she comes, she's like hitting me, she's trying to grab my phone, all this. And my mother figure was trying to figure out where I was. She wanted to come get me. She was like, "Where are you? What can I do?" I'm like, "I don't know where I'm at." I couldn't tell anybody. And my dad wasn't answering. He was at work. Another teacher answered the phone, but she was working and she was like, "You need to call the cops." Um, I called my aunt and she didn't answer. So I finally was like, "Okay, I have to call the cops. I have no other option." So I called the cops, and later on, my aunt called me back and she picked me up. And even my mother figure was like, "I'll call the cops. It'll be anonymous. It doesn't matter." So eventually, the cops came, they found me, everything. She got arrested.
Wow. So
So,
your mom has been arrested multiple times.
Yeah.
so when she dropped you off and you ran, tell us why you ran.
Honestly, I just didn't want to be in the car anymore. She was drunk, she was swerving, she was slurring her words, she was mad at me, she wouldn't take. I kept telling her I didn't tell him anything, and she didn't believe that. And there was no winning. I didn't want to be there. So as soon as she stopped, I was out. I was just like, great.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
And was
you?
there anybody else around that was watching this happen?
Yeah, but I don't think people really understood what was going on.
Mm.
Because I wasn't really trying to make a scene. I was trying to quietly just kind of
Oh,
hide
okay.
somewhere and hide out. And like, she was very good at lying.
Mm.
And she was also very good at masking herself. So if I caused a scene, it would only be worse. It would only come back to me. So
Yeah.
my goal was to just to hide it out. I called the cops without anybody knowing. They showed up, and that's when I finally I saw them show up, and I ran out to the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd imagine there was a lot of fear, right? In that moment for you? Like, did you feel scared?
A little bit, to be I was scared and emotional at the same time. I remember feeling a sense of adrenaline,
Hmm.
almost excitement, like I'm running out into the desert and I'm trying. I tend to make light of everything, even younger. Almost like a world in my mind to kind of protect everything around me. So to me, it was like this adventure, and I'm hiding from someone, and it's like this big whatever, and was able to kind
Yeah.
of find a different way to put that fear more into adrenaline as much as I could.
That absolutely
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, kind of like a situation where you're like, I'm creating like a another world. Like I'm going to another place in my mind. I'm going to these secret gardens in my mind. Like I'm going to the desert. Like I'm going to these different places because I hate it here, right? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like your coping mechanism. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's that's a lot for a kid to have to deal with.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, whatever. It was just every day.
And a Tuesday, like no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think that it would be a good time to transition into the rest of your story where we can kind of address what happened to you more into your adult life. But before we do that, is there anything else that you want to bring up from your childhood part of the story that feels important for people to understand?
Honestly, just the fact that healing is so different. Like, you can genuinely, your mind is so powerful as long as you try and take control of it. I mean, I came out, I have anxiety, and this is like diagnosed. I have severe anxiety with panic attacks. I have severe depression, different things like that, and different triggers that came from her and from whoever. And I'm not a drug addict. I am not like seeking to feel good by any other means other than like what genuinely makes only me happy. Um,
Yeah.
as much as like, yeah, I have triggers, yeah, I get panic attacks. Sometimes I am emotional, sometimes I am angry at the fact that this is what I went through, like, and I don't feel like I necessarily deserved that. But you really have to understand how powerful your mind is. I mean, my coping, as you said, it was kind of like almost like a fantasy to me, is like put myself somewhere else. Um, and I read a lot. I love TV shows. I mean, I put myself there. I would take personalities from characters in my book, and that was like kind of the world I was in. I was never truly like fully there. But coming out of it, like I've processed what I've been through, and I'm still able to, as much as I can't always control my thoughts and what's going on. There's just something so powerful at where you target your emotions at. Because even when I'm sad, I can put that into just like memories, into like, you got to think about it as healing. Even when you're sad, when you're angry, you're still healing. Like, different things like that, you really just got to put your mind into the place that you want it to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. And I think it's important too to give yourself a little bit of grace as well of, of course you have triggers. Of course you have depression and anxiety. I mean, I'm sure that you're dealing with a lot of PTSD from going through all of this. So it's like, yeah, of course. Of course that you have some trauma that you're holding on to and that you're trying to get through. But I think it's excellent that you're just out here doing the best you can and just trying to be better and live your life. And yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Alrighty, well, now that we've covered that child portion, so when you were a kid, your main person who was abusing you was your mom. Um, Now that you're transitioning into adulthood, is it still your mom that is the main focus of your abuse, or who is the person responsible for abusing you?
She's dead, girl.
Well, I
Well,
mean
like as
yes,
like,
but
well, yeah. Then let's cover
like
that. When did she die? Tell us about her death. Like, were you an adult when she died, and did that lead on to abuse in your adulthood, or did that happen as a kid?
Oh, she passed away like 2022, 2021, one of those years. I was like a sophomore, I think.
okay.
Um, it's a pretty long process. She went into the hospital Christmas Day, and was in a medically induced coma. I think what hurt me the most was seeing my dad so hurt, because he was like, if she can make it out of this, maybe she really will be, like, she'll have to be better. Honestly, I was so invested in a Harry Styles One Direction fanfic at that time that I did not process any of it until the end. I mean, my
Yeah.
whole world was just reading.
Well, that makes
You're like, my
sense.
mom's dying, but I mean, Harry Styles, this is what he's doing in his life.
Yeah.
Well, and also
Yeah.
like, I mean, my mom's dying, but she's not driving me around drunk in the back of the car, right? Like, you're not,
She's not trying to stab me and
yeah, or hit
Yeah.
my dad. Like,
I mean, and like, not, and it's not really in a disrespectful way. Like, people kind of take it where it's like, oh, you just don't care that your mom died. Of course I care, but she wasn't my mom anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and like I do believe in God. I don't really care whoever believes whatever. But at that point, I had prayed that um, I prayed that if she's not gonna get better, can you take her? And in all honesty, I don't believe she was ever gonna get better at that point. I think she was so far gone that it was becoming more constant, that it was harder to hide because it was so often and more people started knowing. A part of me was just kind of like, you know what? That might be the best for everybody, for not only us, but her safety as well.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like it's just better for everybody at that point.
Yeah.
So did she overdose or how did she die?
She had pancreatitis, which is
Mm.
more common to people who drink. So she had that. We actually went to her house. We had moved out at this point. We lived in an RV. But we went to her house Christmas Eve, wanting to spend it with her. And we got there and we were like, what the heck? And my dad thought maybe she was overdosing because she was acting totally strange. She was yelling, like, we barely understood what she was saying. And I was just mad. I was like, I'm not spending my Christmas like this. Dad, let's go. And my dad is like, hang on, we need to make sure she's good. And I was just so angry. And he put her in the room to lay down. Eventually, she walked out on her own. And he was like, well, if she can walk out on her own, like, I'm sure she's fine. We left the next day. She calls him and said, I need to go to the hospital.
Okay.
Wow. And then she never came out, basically.
He's talking about, he's looking at me being like, tell him this story. Tell him how
Tell,
crazy your life was.
yeah, hit
Tell
us
us,
with it.
yeah.
Tell us the crazy story.
The one he's talking about, there was this point. My dad kept buying this woman cars. She's wrecked so many cars. It's not even funny. I don't even have a count. But he kept buying them. And at one point, they were fighting. All this happened. She left. She left with all of our dogs. At that point, we had 4 dogs. She took all of them. She drove out. We just went to sleep. We were like, all right, whatever. She's gone now. We went to sleep. We wake up. She punched my dad awake. I wake up to the yelling, and she's like, if you did anything to those dogs, where are my dogs? I'll kill you. If I find out you hurt my dogs, and we're both like, woman, what are you talking about? Like, what is going on? She was barefoot. Me and my dad were like, what is going on? You took the dogs. And she was like, no, I didn't. I'll kill you. So me and my dad, we, he went outside to be like, what? The dogs were not there, and neither was the car. She was barefoot. She drove 3 miles to the store, but on the way to the store, I live on a dirt road and there was a dip. She went so fast she hit the dip. A rock punctured the oil pan and it drained it, and she broke down at Fry's. Walked barefoot back to the house, and all the dogs were running around the store parking lot. So
And
we
she
like,
couldn't remember because she was so drunk?
yep. So like
Huh.
she came and just started yelling at us about the dogs, and we were like, "You took the dogs."
Did you get your dogs back?
Yeah, I mean they're good dogs. They were by the car. They were just kind of running circles, probably confused.
They're good dogs.
They're
That's
like, what
fine.
the hell is happening?
Yeah, they were probably like,
That is
where did it?
wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah, your
mean,
poor dogs.
that's so crazy. So that's so wild that she just kept getting cars and just kept getting situated. And it sounds like she was always drunk. I'm just blown away that she's just taking you as a little kid everywhere. I mean, you say people will tell you that you're lucky you're not a drug addict. I'm like, you're lucky you're alive. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, I have been in quite a few accidents. I think the worst one, which is actually the case she was dealing with before she died. She was driving home from Colorado with me because we were at a concert my dad was at, and I wake up to we like ran off the side of the road into the like median of dirt. She skimmed a semi and ran off the road. We paused for a second. I was like, "What is going on?" And then she just kept driving. Um, and then on the way home, we also had our dogs in the car, mind you, and she we're finally getting close to home. She hit this dude on a bicycle. I This dude was unconscious with his eyes open. I was terrified. Being little and looking like that's still that the picture of it still haunts me. He was not dead, just like he was not dead. Um but obviously little me like looks out the window and this dude's eyes are open and he's laying on the ground. I was like, "Oh my god. Did I just witness somebody die?" And I'm crying, and she books it. Witness saw whipped a U-turn and started following her. I'm assuming they called the cops, explaining everything, saying it was a hit and run. Now this car is chasing us. I'm like, pull over. What is happening? It's gonna be so much worse. Like, is that guy okay? She almost hits a house, backs up, heads out. She ran a stop sign, and as she ran the stop sign, she almost hit the car coming this way, which happened to be a police car. So now they're chasing us. She's going for it. She's gone, and she hit a brick wall going 40, 50 miles per hour.
Oh,
Oh my God.
yeah, you are lucky you're alive, girl.
I can't believe like that didn't kill her. Like, did that, I mean, that totaled the car, right?
Yeah, we were fine.
Wow. And you guys both, yeah, you both walked away, no injuries.
I only had like bruises from the seatbelt.
Wow.
That's about it. I mean, we joke about the fact that she like clearly had 9 lives. Like, she was in so many accidents and
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, yeah, kind of crazy. Just a little.
Wow.
That
So,
that's intense.
yeah, wow. My gosh. Yeah, I feel like you're like, "Oh yeah, I just pretend like my life is a movie." Like, girl, your life is a movie. Fast and the
Yeah,
Furious.
right.
Yeah.
Like Fast and the Furious, James Bond, alcoholic mother version.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like living in Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. Wild dogs.
You wanna know what, too? They,
That is
we went home that night. We went
Oh,
home that night.
wait, she didn't
No,
go to jail?
what?
no,
No
no.
one
They
arrested her
also,
for
they dropped all the charges. The charges came back when the QT situation happened. And so that was like a case that opened up, and then they brought the old case back up with it.
Wait, so the guy on the
why?
bicycle didn't press charges?
No, it was like a homeless dude. He actually died 2 weeks later of an overdose.
So he was just
Whoa!
so
Plot
he
twist.
he was just plot twist. So he was just insignificant, I guess. Like the police were like, "Oh, she's pretty. She's pretty. She can talk her way in and out of
Probably.
things."
Yeah.
You said she was very manipulative. So let's just
Mind you,
let her and her kid go home.
she almost hit a cop car. She totaled the car. She damaged the dude's fence. She already had a suspended license. Um, we went home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It
I
blows
shouldn't
my
say this
mind.
on the internet, but like, did she suck someone's dick for that? Oh my God.
No, literally, I remember sitting there because I
Just went
couldn't
You're
tell
home.
the
like, I don't
police.
know.
I couldn't tell the police what really happened because my mom was close to me. Like I can't. And even if I said like, "Oh, can we go over here?" my
Hmm.
mom's gonna be like, "Why? What are you doing?" Um. So
Yeah.
I told them
Right.
that I was asleep the whole time. That I woke up and we were being chased. That's what I told the cops. Because I just didn't want any part. I was like, I don't know what happened. I was sleeping. Like, but I remember they were like, "Can we?" They asked her to take a breathalyzer. She said no. They said okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we went home.
Yeah.
Okay. Go
Yeah,
home.
you can deny to take a breathalyzer, but usually that doesn't usually that means they have to just take extra steps to get you to confirm. That's weird that they'd be like, "All right, well, I'm like I just want it's the end of my shift. Go home. I'll tell you what, we'll both go." That's wild. That
My lord.
it always blows my mind. I think the way that like I think a commonality in a lot of these stories is like where the justice system failed.
100%.
Right. Like,
The
Yeah.
system here, cops used to be my trigger. Um, like after everything, there was very few cops. Not that I think cops are bad. They just kind of gave like bad memories, PTSD. But I mean, there was only a few cops that like were really kind. I mean, there was a cop, and I will never forget him. He told me that I was the exact reason why he does what he does. He told me I had a mom like this growing up. Like this is the exact reason I do my job. And like that cop, I don't think I will ever
wow.
forget. I remember sitting there and I was like, finally somebody believes me. Like finally something's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow. So you said your mom died in 22?
21 or 20,
2022?
somewhere around there.
Okay. And you were a freshman in high school, so you're what, 16, 15, 16?
Something like that. Like 15, 16, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I'm like thinking, I'm like, wait a second, math.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like 15, 16.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of hard saying transitioning from childhood to adulthood because, like, really technically you're a child until you're 18. So
I guess I
now I
put
understand why you were
adulthood.
like, are you an idiot? My mom is dead.
Yeah, it's not really like when I put adulthood, I just mean after that. Honestly, it was just kind of like after all that happened. Because honestly, I lived alone a lot. In my head, I kind of was already doing adult things for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's less like childhood and adulthood, and it's almost like post mom death or like pre mom death, post mom death.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? A, B, C, and AD
Yeah.
before Christ and after death.
Yep.
Yeah.
BM and AD before mom and after death.
Yeah. Or with mom after death.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I guess that would. Okay, so your mom dies. Um, you said that you have lived alone. So in your post mom part of your story, we won't call it adulthood, we'll call it post mom. Um, that way you don't come for me again, my God. Just kidding. Um, who was the main abuser responsible as like in that part of your story?
My ex boyfriend.
So how did this relationship start then? How did you
It
meet him?
started. It started before my mom passed away. Um, it was somebody within that group that I was talking about.
Was it the nerd?
No, I love the nerd. He's like genuinely like my brother. He's my favorite person. No, he's
Okay,
great.
Right.
good. I was like, not the nerd.
No, he's great. We're still friends, actually. He's awesome.
Okay.
So when you first met your ex-boyfriend, what was it about you that attracted you to him initially, or what was it about him that attracted to you? Was attractive to you?
Honestly, I think it was a kind of a trauma bond. Cause like he also called the mother figure mom, and like going through all that just kind of made the group closer. And I don't know, I was in eighth grade at the time, like so he was just kind of there for me, I guess.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
I think it was also there was a parent drinking that I also related with, so there was also that sort of bond and understanding.
So you guys just had a lot in common, a lot of things you could connect with over.
Yeah.
And when did it become volatile or like abusive? Like you said, I had an abusive ex-boyfriend. Like when was it, did it move from trauma bonding to not okay?
In honesty, like the first 3 months of us dating. And it wasn't like hitting me abuse. It was more like manipulation and like later on
Mm.
worse. If you catch my drift.
Yeah. So manipulation, what were some of the things that he would say?
It was just so I'm like not someone who's like very intimate, I guess so to say. I'm not a physical touch person. I like hugs from my significant other. That's really kind of like my biggest, but I'm not a big physical touch person. I never have been. He, like, first 3 months would already kind of make me feel guilty for not wanting to do something or not understanding or different things like that. Mind you, we were in eighth grade. So that was not
Right. You're,
my priority.
yeah.
So that started right away, honestly. But for me, I'm kind of like my dad, to be honest. I get attached, and once I'm attached, it is also very hard for me to let go.
Yeah. So you have this person that you guys were friends before. You guys have all these things that you connect with. You have all these things that you can relate. And then he starts being manipulative, but you're like, look, I can look past that because there's so much more to him and to this relationship than the manipulation that he's putting me through.
Yeah. So this was like a 3 year on and off thing. I mean, honestly, it would just be me crying, me feeling guilty because it was like, oh, I just want to get it over with, or oh, like it's fine, and oh, like I don't really want to, and it's like, why? Like, why not? Different things like that. He was good at manipulating me into feeling guilty and feeling like it was a must from me. Like I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on, we break up at one point, and we didn't really tell anybody. That I told my friends. I don't know what kind of breakup that is, but we broke up. Um, and it's still like there was still manipulation going on, and I was just really trying to get through it. And a lot of arguments. There was a lot of jealousy. He asked me if I was gay because I was close with my girl best friend. Um, like, and even like we joke about this. Me and my friend do it all the time because I'm still friends with her. Um, he asked me if I was gay with a straight face. He goes, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Are you like? Do you want me to say yes? Yeah, I'm gay. Sure." Like, what do you mean? Am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Like, if I told you no, I meant no. But if you want a yes answer from me, yeah, I'm gay. Um, yeah, a lot of jealousy as like we sort of got back together for a little while. Um, Then it goes south again. Now I get a different I'm with a new guy. I'm still going to that house because he lives in a friend's house, a mutual friend's house. So I'm still over at that friend's house. He tried getting me to cheat on said boyfriend that I had. And I was always like, what is wrong with you? Like, genuinely, what is wrong with you? That relationship ended, and I think he was like my safety net at that point. So, like, I always kind of like went back to him. Um, so we kind of like we're not like we sort of got back together in a sense. It was still rocky, but we were hanging out and everything, and then one of the football guys, because he played football, was also dating one of my friends at the time, and he was like, "Hey, just so you know, he's he's talking about this girl." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's talking about how like he hooked up with some girl at practice, just so you know." And I was like, "What?" So I confront him, and I was like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Oh, like no, it's not true. Like, no." I was like, "Okay." So then I go back, I talk to that football player, he talks to me about it a little more, and I'm like, God, like, I feel like it's true. I mean, my gut is telling me it's true, but I'm like, he's telling me no, it isn't. I swear it's not. So I confront him again, and he's like, oh, well, I told the story to the football guys because they made me, all of them have done it, and so I just wanted to be cool. Like, they pressured me into telling a story. I was like, you had to tell a story about going and hooking up with
Mm.
some random girl? Really? Mind you,
Sus.
guys aren't that creative, and part of the story is the grandma caught them. And I was like, I feel like you wouldn't have thrown that in if it was just the story. But whatever, I'm like, okay, so I'm talking to other football players now. I'm going down the line. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm slow at that point. I was just naive and dumb, but you live and learn. Um, I confront him again. Then the story changed to, oh, I was upset. I just wanted to hurt you. Like, it was just a story to put out there. Like, I knew it would come back to you. Okay, well, that's
Mm.
also fucked up. Like, either way, it's fucked up. So now you're not winning at
Yeah.
all. Um, then I'm texting him at this point, and I played this whole, like, I respect men who tell the truth. It's so much easier to fix things when you're honest. It's so respectable. Like, I feel like if men are honest, anything can be fixed. And then he was like, yeah, I did it. And I was like, we're over. Like, that's great. Thanks for telling me. I have no respect for you, actually. Nothing's getting
Yeah.
fixed. Um,
Yeah.
I don't, in all honesty, I don't know if it was before or after the girl because I still wasn't smart. This is high school, by the way. At one point he did get to me, and I didn't say no right away, but I cried the whole time. I didn't say yes. And eventually, like, I pushed him off of me. I was crying, I was upset, and I went home. So there's that. And now he'll say that it's not that because we were dating, but it was that. I didn't say yes.
Mm.
I know that. And I did used to blame myself a lot for it because there were a lot of, like, I guess, like, I don't know, sure, like, if you want. But it's like, I don't, I don't really hide my emotions. Like, I'm sure you could have, either he's really dumb and slow, or like, you can pick up on my emotions on my face. So, like, even when I'm like, I guess, I'm obviously not sure and I'm obviously not saying yes. Um,
Yeah.
that time
Right.
I didn't say anything. I froze. And it was taken as a yes. So there's that. But even after the girl, later on, I tried to be forgiving and I was still talking to him. And I was like, how are we gonna get back together, basically? And he was like, I'm not getting with you unless we have sex. And I was like, ew, okay, never mind. I got it.
Ew.
Um, yeah, like, dude, you just told me that you went and like slept with some random girl off of Snapchat. Like, no, I'm good. Um, but I mean, he was so manipulative and good at getting his way, and even like people had no idea this was all going down. Like nobody. And the one person that I kind of tried to tell, like sort of kind of, like I was so like uncomfortable and didn't want to say anything, but like also wanted to give a hint. He was bought condoms. Not like that was the solution. So I was like, oh, okay. Like,
So
Oh,
so you tell him like you confide in him what's happening and he just goes and buys you condoms?
no, I confided in an adult that knew him, and they bought him condoms. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh.
Like that helps me. Thanks.
So
oh,
they're like it's okay if he forces himself on you as long as he's being smart about it.
I wasn't like direct, like, oh yeah,
While
like,
mommy
he's
did this to
wrapping
me.
his willy.
But I was like, I am kind of uncomfortable. And they were just like, well, you can stay downstairs and this and that. And then they called him down weeks later or something, and I was there. And I was like, oh, what'd you get in there? He was like, oh, condoms. And I'm like, what? Like, I was just talking about how I'm uncomfortable, but okay.
They're like, if you're gonna do it, at least wrap it. What the
Yeah, apparently.
fuck, bro?
that is absolutely infuriating to me. So like, and I'm hearing you say that is he stupid? Like I wasn't like it was obvious I wasn't into it. And didn't he care? And obvious like the answer is no, he didn't. And consent, right, is continuous and enthusiastic. Like you are, yes, you are, I'm in it. This is a continuous process and enthusiastic. Like there's when there's an I'm unsure or I don't know or hold on, can we slow down? Any of those indications, that's you're withdrawing consent. Like you're saying, I don't want to do this anymore. Whatever's happening in this exact moment, I'm uncomfortable. And like you know that. And he's not stupid. He knows that too. And people who act like they don't are liars. Like they understand that your consent is withdrawn. They just don't want to stop. And he's having a good time. Well, it can't be that big of a deal because she wanted it a few minutes ago. Or it can't be that big of a deal because she's not outright saying, get off of me, you freaking creep. Like, and, and it's just, it's really frustrating. It can't be like she didn't full blown say no, so it must have been yes. No. Everything is a no unless it's a yes. Everything is a
Yeah,
no unless it's a yes.
I was pretty much frozen until like I started crying. And it was just like, well, you didn't say anything. Well, yeah, I didn't say anything, but like,
Yeah, you're
um,
right.
this also like I would wake up to things happening as well. So like he would be like on me in my sleep and different things like that. Um, and I only recently started telling like friends and people about like the truth. I mean, some of my
Yeah.
friends kind of had a clue um that something went down, but like I was never very open about it until of like as of recent.
Yeah. And is this boy still in your life?
Yes and no. I don't see him, but I adore his little sister, and like I still love her.
Mm.
I still hang out with her, like all this. Um, she's great. So like his sister's in my life, and I love her. So there's that. I mean, I still know the people he lives with. Someone who's like my cousin lives there because the mutual friend, she's dating the mutual friend. Um, and so like I hang out with her and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
and he was in my
So
life
during
up
your
until
relationship,
what?
oh,
Sorry, go
I'm
on.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say he was in my life until my like most recent boyfriend, and I was finally like, all right, like I'm just gonna completely cut it off.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he doesn't deserve you. Yeah.
No, that's
So,
real quick, sorry. So there's like a little bit of a lag, I think. So that's why we're not interrupting you. Um, so that's when it comes on, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. We're like, no, 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 you go. So
No, I
sorry
understand. You're
about that.
good.
I think just but I do want to jump back real quick to when you specifically said like you would wake up to things. And I think it's really important to uh I think it's important to give I think it's important to give names like to what's happening, right? And that wasn't something little to look at. Like he raped you. Like when you're waking up to something, you didn't s- it was you didn't even get a chance to withdraw consent. And I am really sorry that that happened to you. That's infuriating. And infuriating that you're in this you're in a sexually abusive relationship where he thinks that because you're dating or because you've done it before or he's entitled to it or whatever his fucked up reasons are in his head, that it's okay for him to do whatever he wants to you and you shouldn't speak about it. And you had mentioned that you hadn't told anybody until very recently, kind of confiding in some of your friends. Can you talk to us about maybe what led you to not want to tell anybody?
Honestly, for the longest time, I think I blamed myself. And that was kind of part of the manipulation was like, well, I guess like maybe I said sure, maybe I said fine.
Right.
Just different stuff like that where it was just like maybe I did it. Maybe I somehow led him to think it was okay. And then I realized it wasn't. And I mean, I had boyfriends after him that I didn't tell. My current boyfriend and the one in the car with me was actually the first person I had ever told. The most that I would tell people was like, yeah, I would wake up to things. He would make me uncomfortable. And then to my closer friends, I said, yeah, he got on top of me, but I was able to push him off before anything happened. And that wasn't the truth. But I think part of me felt guilty and felt shamed until I got with my recent boyfriend, who was just so like, he just made me feel totally different. I felt safe. And so he was the very first person I told. And because I told him, I started to get a little more comfortable being like, okay, it wasn't my fault. I never said yes. I froze. I cried so many times. I told him so many times. I sent paragraphs talking about my uncomfortability, all of that. So that was why I finally started to be like, okay, I can tell people. I shouldn't feel like it's my fault. I shouldn't be ashamed because I didn't do it.
right.
Yeah. And my question doesn't come from a place of like, why the fuck didn't you tell? It's just I'm always interested because I was like, if you'll look back at our episode 2 is when I talk about my story and like I didn't tell anybody. The first person I told, like I fully told, was Joe when she interviewed me, and that was 16 years later. And so I think it's important for people to understand that there's a myriad of reasons that why people don't tell, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to start Project Tell Your Story was
Yeah.
let's take away like let's not give those reasons power. So I think it's important too to talk about the it's important to take away the power from the reasons by voicing them out loud by saying like, yeah, I was ashamed. I thought it was my fault. And I think that's a very common thing to think. Like what if I wasn't aggressive enough in my no? What if I did maybe say yes? What if I wasn't strong enough to push him off? Like, is that my fault? Yeah. And what if there's something wrong with me too? Like, that's something that's, I know I thought when I started being consensually sexually active was like, what if I just don't want to have sex? You know?
And I
So, and
mean,
it turns out it was like, no, I just
honestly,
didn't want to have sex with that person.
I honestly still like that did trigger. I'm still affected by it. Even today, like he made it so much like just lust and not any love behind it that like being into it that way is not like I don't jump at it. And like even my current boyfriend now, I feel comfortable with him. I'm totally safe with him. He's been nothing but good to me and understanding, especially when I'm like when I freeze or when I'm triggered, like it's like okay, like he goes straight into like comforting mode, like reassuring. But I'm still like I still don't jump at any of that. Like if I feel like I'm being like almost pinned down, like I might get like freaked out. I might panic a little bit where it like just kind of takes me back.
Yeah. Yeah, you still have those triggers.
Yeah. Like you just said, there's things that take you back. Um, how does that affect you today?
I mean, it's just hard with like with relationships and being intimate in relationships. It's not like it's a very very slow and like it's slow process. It's very hesitant on my end. It takes a lot for me to really like be like okay, like it's okay. Um I think the way that he made it, like it didn't seem like it was about love. And so now like I just can't associate that with love. Like what if I say no? Are they going to be upset? Like I go through the whole
Yeah.
anxious process of it.
Yeah.
And there are even times where like I just go straight into panic mode. I'm crying. I'm like I'm sorry. I just like all this and he's very reassuring. He's very comforting. He understands why um it is that way, but like it still gets to me sometimes even with someone as reassuring and like caring as the boyfriend I have right now. Like he's amazing to me, but I still have those triggers and those times where I'm still struggling and still having to heal and process things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are in a healthy relationship to where your partner can understand, like, maybe not understand where you're coming from, but understand that, like, you need a little bit more time, you need a little bit more, whatever, safety or whatever it is that you need, and can understand that and give that to you rather than this other boy who is manipulative and would make you feel bad about it. So I'm glad that you have a good boyfriend that can do that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like
Yeah.
one I heard something once that I really loved, and tell me if you can relate to this, is they said sex starts with my morning coffee. And by that she meant like her partner, she was like, my partner is love like I'm more likely to have sex with you at the end of the day, after we get home, because we're gonna wake up, we're gonna go to work, and we've got all these crazy things going on all day, and then by the time I get home, I'm tired, I don't feel pretty, I feel gross. Something very bad happened during the day, or I yelled at my boss or whatever. You've got a normal day going through, and I don't feel seen, I don't feel pretty, all the things. But she goes, when I wake up and my partner makes me a cup of coffee in the morning, like that's one thing that I don't have to think about. And then it was like throughout the day, my partner will call me and tell me, how's your day going? Or, send a nice text message. And so by the end of the day, like she's basically saying, sex starts with my morning coffee, saying you did little things throughout the day to make me feel safe and seen. So that way, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter that I yelled at my boss. I still felt protected by you. And I was that now I want to have sex. So is that something like
100%.
similar to kind of what you're saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you have
100%.
someone who's making you feel safe every way, every step of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, um, 100% I agree with that. And to be honest, even then, I'm still a little hesitant. Um, I'm still healing. It still affects me, but 100% those little things, completely add up and make me feel a lot safer and, a lot more okay with who I am and being able to be a little vulnerable and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in her instance, right, it's just I had a rough day. Like I don't really want to have sex. Like you're absolutely right. Like you're still healing. You've got a lot more than just my morning coffee. But I think it's really cool. We love a supportive partner that's in there and, your boyfriend saying that, yeah, I'm going to make you feel seen and safe every single day, every step of the way. So that way you don't question, like, I'm safe here. And I think that's
Yeah,
that's really good that you have someone to make you feel safe.
yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Sweet. So, we've talked about a lot today. Um, and your story is very, very insane in the best way. But just hearing how much that you've carried throughout your whole life, all of this heaviness that you've dealt with, that you've carried, um, that you're still healing from, I do want to ask a difficult but important question. So you had mentioned at one point that you were cutting, so you were self-harming, but did you ever have thoughts about ending your life?
100%. 100% growing up in that was not easy by any means. It wasn't a walk in the park and like not to be so light about it, but I mean, I think you guys would be shocked if I was like, "Oh, absolutely not. It was great." What do you mean? I mean,
Yeah.
100% there were days where I was like, "Can I just not wake up?" There were days that I was like, "What if I just turn the steering wheel and we go off the road when we flip? What if I 100%, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever make any attempts at that?
I'd say little me tried, but little me was also very scared and not a very confident, sure person that I am now. Little me was more like we have a storage container and we live around cactus. So I was like, what if I jump from the storage container down into a bush of cactus? Or what if I took all these pills, you know? And I would sit there and contemplate it. I would sit on top of that storage container and just look down at it. I would be in the bathroom with pills. I would be in the bathroom with the knife. But like I said, I was never really sure. I was too scared. I still I love my dad, all that, and I really wanted to prove people wrong. That I could get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I personally, I mean, I don't know you from Adam, but I'm glad that little you didn't ever go through with any of that and that you're still here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think too we've spent a lot of time today like talking about the dark parts of your story and the trauma that you endured. We also you throughout this story have brought into the highlights when we were like, "Hey, let's, maybe let's transition to the next part, kind of what happened. Is there anything that you didn't really get a chance to share?" And you were like, "Yes, healing." And I loved that. Like I love how you're highlighting that your life didn't end and you were very open about 100%. I did want to end my life because I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to keep dealing with this very volatile home life, parent life. I move into my very first romantic relationship, like your big relationship, who your first sexual experience, and it's traumatic and he's manipulative and that's been consistently your life. And I love that you're here to highlight that your life didn't end, that you're still here fighting to survive. And like, I mean, to us, that sounds literally like the definition of resiliency. And do you
Yeah.
feel like you're resilient?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. My biggest thing is always healing. I mean, growing up, obviously, I love photography now. High school kind of changed my point of view, but growing up, I wanted to help teens that are going through similar things, that are too scared to talk to that CPS person, because I get it, who don't have anybody to share with, who's scared to say anything, who's scared of that parent, of that person, different things like that. I have a pin that says grow out of spite. It was kind of what I did, where I was like I said, like your mind is so powerful. Yeah, like 100%. There were times I did not want to live this life. I was so done with it. I didn't understand why I'm going through it. I didn't do anything. Like why do things need to be so hard? Why can't I just be in like a normal life? Like what did I do to deserve this? Why won't they believe me? I mean, so many questions, so many anxious thoughts. But then there was a part of me that's like, people talk about the person getting abused becomes the abuser. Um, so, like, if I were to start drinking and I started to do whatever and I kind of followed that way, I was so determined to be like, no, that's not gonna be me. That's not gonna be my story. I want to help other kids. I have to get through this if I'm gonna help them. If I'm gonna tell them that there is a way to get out, that it doesn't end all bad. Like it's not the end of the world. That there's so much more coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. And I think that's amazing. Like what you said, and actually I wish I had the statistic with me, right? I don't know the number on top of my head, but you had said, that the abuser or the abused becomes the abuser. And it's actually, I remember reading this article at one point, and it said, like, while yes, a lot of abusers were abused, not a lot of abused people become abusers. Because of what you just said, like most of the time, your reaction is, I can't imagine this happening to somebody else. And,
Yeah.
I asked if you felt resilient, and you said, yes, I still kept coming back, and I found things that I fell in love with. I have an amazing job now. I love where I'm at in my life. And I think it's important to highlight that resilient people still feel grief. They still feel anger. They still feel pain. Bravery means doing it scared. Resilient means having the negative energy and the negative feelings and the negative thoughts and experiences, and then showing up to life every single day anyway. And you definitely have done that. And I think that that's amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I think that's kind of why I wanted to be on here as well, was just kind of, even my boyfriend was like, "What are you going to talk about?" And he was like, "Your mom." And I was like, I mean, yeah, but I want that to be more of a background to healing, of how you can do it. It sucks. I mean, it really sucks. There's no easy way out, but like, it is possible to get out. It is possible to not be that person. It is possible to still fall in love with things. All of it's possible. Like, if you give up now, like, you kind of give them the power. Where, like, they broke you, in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can get up, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna suck until one day it doesn't. And, like, you're gonna be so happy that you stuck that out, and now you have a whole life of your own that you can build.
Yeah. I love
I
that.
love that. It's going to
And
suck until one day it doesn't. That's cool.
yeah. And like it doesn't define you. You don't have to let this terrible experience that you've been through define the rest of your life. Like you've been saying this whole time, you can still come back from that and you can still build your own life and create, your own story and be your own person that you love and that you want to be. So I think that's excellent. So do you what are moments in your life, in your everyday life, or even just throughout this experience that you have surprised yourself with your own strength?
Honestly, I think it's more like an applaud to the little version of myself because I'll say like as I got older, I was more combative. I was like whatever, like I was like an angsty teen, like whatever, fuck you guys then, you know? Um it's more an
Yeah.
applaud to like little me for still putting up with that, being as small as I was and still finding a coping mechanism and still finding light. I mean, I was still making jokes then. I was still trying to just get through it, trying to just like go to school, get the grades, have friends. Like I found ways to get out for a day or two where I would go to friends' houses and different things. Like little me was still smart. Little me was more scared. I didn't do as much for myself, but the fact that at that age I was still able to push through, especially such scary times, because I mean there are a million stories that like I could tell you guys honestly. It's honestly impressive.
Yeah. No, I totally I love that. I love the answer to your question is I just want to give applause to little me. Like you're here today because little me was also resilient and just kept coming back.
I also love the term little me. I've always just been like, oh, my past self, past Joe, whatever, but yeah, little me. That's cute.
It is cute.
So, what what is saving your life right now?
Myself, kinda. My dad and my boyfriend. Um, I would say like, yeah, of course my boyfriend saves my life. Of course my dad saves my life, but like in the end it's my choice. I would say I'm saving my own life and a lot of that is finding those coping mechanisms. I told you guys about my work before we were recording, but doing photography. I got into photography through high school. I took a class. We had a gallery. My art was a lot darker than most kids, and specifically the big one that everyone remembered. I did a piece called Dear Mom, and I wrote a letter to my mom. It was after she passed away, but I wrote a letter talking about like I don't know why you chose this like over your kids, and it was honestly a letter to her, and I crumpled it up and I flattened it back out and I poured some alcohol on it and you could see the bottle tipped over on it and some pills and whatnot. Um, and people loved that piece. I mean, a lot of people cried. I had somebody write me an anonymous note saying that I made them appreciate their sobriety for their kids and all that. And so that was kind of how I got into photography, but I do poetry and drawings of my emotions and what I went through, hoping to kind of connect to somebody else that needs it.
That
That's
is beautiful.
amazing. I just got chills. Like that is absolutely beautiful. Do you do you have somewhere that you want us to like point people towards to look at your work? Do you want to share if you want to? Do you have a page or a social media page or anything that you share your artwork with that you want us to give a shout out to?
I have an Instagram that I could send you guys. I want to say it's like Take in the Moment is what it's called or something like that, but I can definitely send it to you guys. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty
And
sure
is
my
that
Yes,
something
dear
you
mom.
please
want?
do.
Yeah, I mean 100%. I love my art. I love doing photography. If more people could see it, I wish for that to happen 100%. Especially my darker ones, cuz those are the ones that are going to tell a story. And I do have like other just pretty looking pictures that are great to see. They'll be a little lighter in your life, but those the darker ones do tell a story and it's real.
Yeah, that's that's what I love to see. I love to see just the raw emotions in any sort of creative way. And artwork and photography and music. Like I love seeing people just put their raw emotions out there and like this is real. And I think it really speaks to people. So that is amazing. Definitely send us your Instagram. We definitely want to shout it out for you. Um, and I also wanted to say when I asked you the question of what's saving your life right now, that was my favorite answer is myself. Because I mean, you do have, like you said, you have people in your life who you love and who are supportive of you and your story and your experiences, but ultimately at the end of the day, like you have got you. Like you're the one that sticks up for yourself. You're the one that protects yourself and takes care of yourself and I really love that. So, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And do you feel like in the beginning, right, you were talking about how you were a little nervous and you didn't really know what to say and you almost didn't, you almost canceled the interview today. And that's very understandable. How do you feel now? Like, how is, how is little you feeling? How is current you feeling after talking to us for like the past about 2 hours?
I mean, I feel good. I've always been anxious about like talking to people, so I think that was a lot of it. And kind of thinking about like what to say about healing, because I know it's different for all people. But just being like, this is my way, like just do it my way. Um, Obviously that's not gonna work for other people, and so it's kind of like nervous thinking about that. About like what do I say? But like I feel good. I feel like I've said enough for people to understand like how powerful your mind is, how powerful like your choices can be, how there's so much more.
I feel like you did a good job at not necessarily being like, "Oh, this is how I healed, so this is what's going to work," but
Mhm.
like I feel like you really highlighted a lot of, you just have to get through it and you just have to find ways to cope and find what works for you and at the end of the day just be there for yourself. So, yeah, I really think that this story is going to touch a lot of people because anybody who can relate to having an abusive parent or being in an abusive relationship or anything like that, they're going to relate to that. But also, everybody goes through things, whether it's this big traumatic situation or, something that is quote unquote minor like compared to what the story that you just told us, but everybody goes through stuff. Everybody needs to heal from something. And so I think just being able to come on here and be like, look, like this is everything that I've gone through and my life sucked and my people sucked, but look at me now. And I love myself and I'm doing all this stuff to make myself happy and you can get through it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and is there anything that you, as we're getting ready to wrap this up, is there anything that you feel like you didn't get a chance to share that you want to?
I guess just like to tie more into it. I mean, you guys, 2 hours probably will never be enough to tell my story, like my whole story. I mean, and this is a lot. So, I mean, like, if people are watching and they're like, wow, it's a lot, it's like, that's a brush of it. And I'm still here. So, like, imagine going through all that. And I still sit here and I'm like, there's still people that go through worse than that. And that's pretty bad. And there's still people that go through worse than that and then make it out. So you really got to
Yeah.
change your perspective on how to look at trauma. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, and I totally understand that. I don't blame anybody who can't just do that because it's hard. I mean, there's points where I was angry, where I was sad, where whatever emotion I was feeling, and it happens. It's understandable. You went through a lot, but really changing your perspective, knowing that it's not your whole life, that there is a way out, that there are people that will help, and whatnot, is kind of the best way to look at it. Just change your perspective and keep going.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. Well, we always end our episode with the same question. So you mentioned that, you mentioned a lot of things about little you. So if you could write a letter to little you, what would you say?
Honestly, probably just an applaud of how strong, like, in that moment I didn't feel strong. I know I was scared, but, like, clearly little me pushed through it, and it would just be like, look at yourself. Don't even look at me and, like, yeah, you're okay in the future. Yeah, I'm writing this letter to you. I'm okay, but look at yourself. You're the reason why, not me, you know?
Yeah,
Applause to little you. That's really cool.
perfect.
Well, that is a wrap, really. I mean, we'll I think that's a great place to end. I think that we covered a lot, and I feel like you've really given us a lot of an insight into you, into Haley, and just thank you so much for trusting us with your story.
Of course. Thank you
Yeah,
guys for
thank you
doing
so
this.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully this brought you a little bit of peace being able to get your story out there.
yeah, 100%.
for sure.
Good.
Well, this is Project Tell Your Story, signing off.
Bye.
If you or someone you know has been or is currently suffering from abuse, please reach out to www.stopitnow.org.
Project Tell Your Story is created and produced by your hosts, Sam and Joe. Music composed by Morgan Mold, logo art by Jordan Dalton. Ready to share your story? For a chance to be featured on our podcast, please reach out to us. Send a brief summary of your story to contact.tellyourstories@gmail.com.